Good evening. I am hereby calling to order the May 29, 2019 meeting of the Mayfield Heights City Council. May I have a roll call, please, Vicki?
Present.
Mrs. Finney,
Here.
Mr. Mano,
Here.
Mrs. Sabetta,
Here.
Mrs. Snyder,
Here.
Mrs. Tressi.
Here.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. Next, we'll begin with the approval of the minutes from the Council of the Whole meeting on May 13, 2019. I trust everyone had a chance to read them over. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the Council of the Whole meeting on May 13? Moved by Mr. Mano, seconded by Mr. Balestria. Are there any suggested changes, amendments, or deletions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The May 13th Council of the Whole meeting minutes stand approved. Next is approval of the minutes from the regular meeting on May 13th, 2019. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Moved by Mrs. Snyder, seconded by Mrs. Sabetta. Are there any suggested changes, amendments, or deletions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed?
abstain on both the committee of the whole meeting and the council meeting minutes. I was absent.
Thank you, Mrs. Teresi. The May 13th council meeting minutes stand approved. Next on our agenda are correspondence and announcements. Does any member of council have any correspondence or announcements? Mr. Balestria?
I would just like to commend the city, especially our service department, our police department, our fire department on a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I had heard a number of residents during the ceremony talk about how great it was and how much they were moved. Thanks to Mrs. Snyder as well for leading the Hometown Banner program. I think it was I think it was our best attended service, and I think the residents really appreciated it as well as everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Balestria. Anybody else? Also, we'd like to thank Nick Tagg for being our master of ceremony. And we also had, the service department had their evening with the trucks, and I heard Mrs. Sabetta had a little fun with that one. And she got to drive one of the big trucks. So. But my grandson Joey just loved it, so it was a lot of fun. Anybody else? Next, we will move on to reports of officers, starting with the mayor. Mayor DeSico.
Thank you, Madam President. I kind of feel like Paul Sharia tonight. Everybody stole my report. So I'm going to say it anyway. Monday, we recognized Memorial Day with our annual Memorial Day services here at City Hall. I want to thank Nick Tagg for putting together a very fitting event. There were over 200 people gathered outside City Hall to honor the men and women who gave their all in defense of our country. We also recognize the residents that are now memorialized on our hometown hero banners that you see lining Mayfield Road. I want to thank Diane Snyder for spearheading the project, my secretary Mary Beth Oshway for handling all the correspondence with the applicants, and the service department for doing a great job hanging them. They look great, and we should be proud of what each and every one of the banners represents. And another heads up that it is on our website and is on our social media sites. Lander Road resurfacing project between I-271 and Cedar Road will begin Monday, June 17th, and is anticipated to be completed on July 15th. Work will consist of milling of the asphalt road surface, repair of the concrete base, and replacement of the asphalt surface course and restriping. The road will maintain two-way traffic most times during construction. However, there may be times traffic is limited to one lane that will be controlled by a temporary traffic light, police, or a flagger. So take your time, have some patience as we complete these much-needed repairs. Also, the 271 bridge painting project, which was scheduled to start soon, will be pushed back a couple weeks. So that is the Mayfield Road Bridge and the Marsall Bridge. And then on a personal note, I just want to thank each and every person who reached out to me and my family with well wishes, prayers, and support on my brother's passing. It is true, you can get by with a little help from your friends. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Are there any questions for the mayor? Mrs. Teresi?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mayor, will we put a sign on Lander Road that says expect delays or anything about the construction prior to it beginning?
I believe
Either-
we're going to do what we usually do, which is put out signs, expect delays. We've notified the corporate park, so we're doing everything we did the last time we did work on Lander Road.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Next, Director of Law, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Are there any questions for Mr. Murphy? Seeing none, Director of Finance, Mrs. Fagan.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This evening, I have no report either.
Thank you, Mrs. Fagan. Does anyone have any questions for Mrs. Fagan? Seeing none, we'll move on to our reports of committees, commissions, and boards. We'll start with the Building Committee, Mrs. Snyder.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no report.
Thank you, Mrs. Snyder. Are there any questions for Mrs. Snyder? Next is Finance and Audit Committee, Mrs. Sabetta.
Thank you, Madam President. No report.
Thank you, Mrs. Sabetta. Are there any questions for Mrs. Sabetta? Next, we'll have Legislative Committee, Mrs. Teresi.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have no report.
Thank you, Mrs. Teresi. Are there any questions for Mrs. Teresi? Seeing none, we'll move to Public Works and Service Committee, Mr. Balestria.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Public Works and Service Committee did not meet. We have no report, but I am trying to set up a meeting to continue to discuss our sidewalk program, and hopefully we can set something up within the next week or so.
Thank you, Mr. Balestria. Are there any questions for Mr. Balestria? Next, we'll move on to Parks and Rec Committee, Mr. Mano.
I have a report.
I figured so.
Okay, Dragapool, update. We are experiencing a prolonged maintenance issue and expect a slight delay in opening the pool. At this time, we are unsure of an exact opening day. Please watch the website and the city's Facebook pages for updates. Public open swim hours when the pool does open will be Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. Weekends and holidays will be from 12 noon to 5:45 p.m. Movie in the Park. On Friday, June 7th at 7:30 p.m., Ralph Breaks the Internet will be the featured movie. The location has been changed to the City Park. Bring a blanket or chair. Concessions will be available. Unity Days this year will be June 21st to June 23rd. Pre-sale wristbands will be available soon and can be purchased at City Hall in the Recreation Department Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. as well as at Dragapool during pool hours. Watch the website and Facebook for updates. The parade is Sunday, June 23rd at 1 p.m. from the Greens of Lyndhurst to Golden Gate Shopping Plaza. This year's parade theme is Rep the CLE. We are looking for floats and organizations to participate. If interested, please contact the Recreation Department. For more information on any of this, visit the website or call us at 440-442-2627. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mano. Are there any questions for Mr. Mano? Seeing none, we'll move on to Safety and Transportation, Mrs. Teresi.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Safety and Transportation Committee met on May 14th with Chief Bittner, and our topic of discussion was purchasing body cams for the department. We currently are using L3 Mobile Vision body cams that were purchased in 2014, and they really now have become problematic. So the chief went out and got 3 bids, 3 proposals, and has selected WatchGuard as the proposal that he would like to see for our purchase, and that would be around $40,000. We do have money in the general fund as well as in special funds, and we did apply for a grant, but the grant is a statewide grant, so we're competing against cities like East Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, and others that probably have more crime than we do. So it doesn't look likely that we will receive the grant. And it is a 50-50 split, so if the cost is $40,000, that grant would be a $20,000 grant if we received it. The chief will get up and speak at the public portion and give you more information on the body cams. We also discussed dispatch center and working with Mayfield Village, if it's a possibility, to have our dispatch center brought to our city, because we don't want to give up our dispatch center. And we talked about license plate readers in our safety meeting, and the chief will expound on all of this through the public portion. And we have resolution 2019-56 on the agenda tonight, in hopes that we can get approval for the chief to purchase the 20 body cams. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Teresi. Are there any questions of Mrs. Teresi? Seeing none, we'll move on to Board of Zoning Appeals. Mrs. Sabetta.
Thank you, Madam President. The Board of Zoning Appeals met on May 14th. There are several items on the agenda tonight, and we can address them when they come forth. I encourage all applicants who are present to speak at the public portion and address council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sabetta. Are there any questions for Mrs. Sabetta? Next, Planning Commission, Mr. Balestria.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No report this evening. The Planning Commission did not meet.
Thank you, Mr. Balestria. Are there any questions for Mr. Balestria? Seeing none, we will now move to the public portion of the meeting. Pursuant to City Code, each person will be allotted 5 minutes to speak, with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for the entire public portion. Although it is not a time for public debate, this is your opportunity to address council with your concerns. Please know there'll be no personal attacks or comments allowed. Also, if you're here in connection with a BZA or agenda item, this is your opportunity to address the council. If you would like to be heard this evening, please raise your hand and be recognized. Then approach the podium and state your name and address for the record. It is now 7:12. I will open up the public portion of the meeting. Anyone like to be heard this evening? Chief?
Brad Bittner, Chief of Police, Mayfield Heights Police Department. As Mrs. Teresi brought up, we had the safety meeting, and then the main topic was the body-worn cameras that the officers wear. In the budget this year, I believe we had allocated money for that in the capital expenditure, so you'd already probably had seen or heard something about it, and this was just the follow-through to get it, to bring it forth to you after we continued and completed our looking at the different models, available pricing and all that. The current system we have is a first generation body cam that the company that we already had our car cams with put together in 2013 following several events in our country that led to the need for everybody to have body cams. It was a first generation. We kind of went with it because it was with the company we already had, and it was pretty cost efficient. But as time went on, when we got the cameras, we had problems with them. We continue to have problems with them. They don't last the whole shift. Oftentimes the officers have to call into dispatch while they're on a call and say, my camera went dead, so that it's documented for court, and that doesn't look good when you're in court. Obviously the courts and the media, then they become suspicious. Why is the camera dead? Well, it's dead because the battery's dead, but that doesn't always, become the real reason that they think it is. They throw a different light on it. So I felt it was important to get a good camera. Most of them now, the newer models, have longer lasting batteries, have charging systems that are in the cars. The model we looked at, the WatchGuard system, Highland Heights has had them for about a year and a half. They also had the same system we had prior to that. They really rave about this WatchGuard system. We would be doing our own in-house server for the storage, so we wouldn't be contracting outside where it would be an every year cost if we went and did a cloud system. It's much more efficient to have it in-house, at least cost effective to have it in-house. So we got the price for 20 cams, which is what we utilize now. 20 cameras. The officers interchange them on different shifts. The server package we got will have a 5-year warranty, so it would be covered for any problems or issues for 5 years, which is a really good length of time for a server. Basically, I think that we just feel that these are going to be good cameras, better HD, better quality, show better panoramic range of the video, have better sound, and last throughout the entire shift. The other couple items that Mrs. Tressi mentioned were I'm trying to forecast for the future. Our dispatch center was put together in the mid-1990s, so it's definitely way outdated, the equipment in there. I mean, obviously we have new computers and things like that, but the radio console and the equipment that we're using is from the 90s. We need to upgrade our radios to better integrate with the fire department's MARC system so we can patch bands together better. We're on a 400 system, they're on the MARC system. So that whole room really needs to be upgraded construction-wise and equipment-wise. So I was bringing that to their attention as something that I'd like to pursue, get some more prices and quotes and throughout this year, maybe make it something we could try to target for next year if you felt that was feasible. The license plate readers, I also brought up, we have the license plate readers down in front of Walmart on both directions of Mayfield Road. They've been outstanding. We got these on a grant through the county. The county put out 19 of these throughout different locations. Well, it depended who put in for these cameras and then who would get the cameras. Well, the first year, not many people knew what they were gonna do, so 19 communities put in, so basically every community that put in got some. This year, they have another grant proposal out from the county. We put in again, but this year, there's I think 40 communities put in this year, and there's even less money than there was the first year. So we would probably be excluded because we already have a set. But what these can do is, they read plates for every car that goes through there. The plate's red. If there's a warrant, if there's a suspension person, if we can put hits in there. If we had criminal activity in our city and we know the plate or partial plate, we can put it in. If we believe it drove through there, we can get any plates that are close to that. It's an excellent tool for us to solve crimes in our city. And I explained to the safety committee that I have approximately 6 locations that I feel if we put them on the 6 exits of our city, we would really be able to have leads on most of our crimes in our city that occur that have somebody drive off from them. And that's, again, something that I'd bring up in the future with some cost packages for you to see. They suggested implementing a plan where we could maybe do a couple a year, which would keep it more reasonable. And I'm in the process of getting some numbers, and I can bring that back to the safety committee or to council at a later time. That's all I really have, unless you have any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Well, you know what, when we get to that agenda item, we'll have further discussion. Mr. Balestria, would you like to ask a question now?
Well, I have just a couple questions, Chief. One is with regard to what you just said about the readers. Is it true that Ohio is not going to require a front license plate on the cars anymore? And how does that, if that's true, then how does that affect our reader?
It reads you as you go away.
As it goes by, so it doesn't even look at the front plate at all?
No.
Okay. And the second question was, is this the amount that you budgeted for? I didn't look at the budget for the body cams.
I believe it was between the server we priced separately and then the body cams. It's right around that.
Right around the same, right around that price? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard this evening? Mr. Ward.
Sean Ward, City Recreation Director. I just wanted to follow up on the report that Don gave tonight about the pool. We were having some liner issues. The repairman is there. He got there today, and hopefully he'll be done tomorrow evening. And hopefully this will just set us back 3 or 4 days, and then we'll hopefully by the middle of next week have the pool up and running. So we'll keep you all posted as we find out. And as you are all well aware from my email this morning, Tom Speaks is here from the Impact Group, and he will be here to answer any questions on the agenda item that was added regarding the recreational survey. Tom has reduced his proposal to $15,000, a reduction of $6,500. There are some things that the city can do. We can print and distribute the survey. We can also do the data collection, which is very time consuming. And additionally, Tom reduced the focus groups from 6 to 5 from his original proposal. So those things helped to reduce that portion by 6,500. I want to stress the importance of conducting a professional, independent, third-party study. I think if the city were to get into this and try to do this on our own, we'd be opening ourselves up to our opponents, who could then say the city is massaging the data to get the result that they want. If this is done by an independent party, neutral party, a professional who does this can give us the results that we want, and that's what our residents want and are asking for. So I appreciate your support in passing this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Anybody else like to be heard this evening? Seeing none, I will close the public portion at 7:21. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2019-42. I'm going to ask Mrs. Snyder to chair this resolution, since I have a personal relationship with the property owner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution 2019-42, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Acting Chairman. Resolution 2019-42, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to Fairchild Management Company a variance to allow a sign on the east side of the proposed self-storage building where there is no unrestricted ingress and egress to the inside of the building at 1413 Golden Gate Boulevard, Cuyahoga County permanent parcel numbers 862-06-050, 862-06-071, 862-06-072, and 862-06-073. Third reading.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Mr. Mano, second by Mr. Balestra. Is there any discussion from members of council? Mrs. Sabetta, would you like to add to this?
Thank you. Nothing more than the applicant made additional arguments to the Board of Zoning of Appeals, causing the Board of the Zoning Appeals to change their previous denial to a recommended approval of a practical difficulty for 2019-42 and 2019-43. Thank you.
Are there any questions or discussions for Mrs. Sabetta? Okay, roll call on the motion to approve.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. Belastria?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi?
Abstain.
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Mrs. Finney?
Abstain.
This resolution 2019-42 has been adopted. Moving to resolution 2019-43, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Acting Chairman. Resolution number 2019-43, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to Fairchild Management Company a variance to allow a 178 square foot identification sign on the east side of the proposed self-storage building at 1413 Golden Gate Boulevard, Cuyahoga County permanent parcel numbers 862-06-050, 862-06-071, 862-06-072, and 862-06-073. Third reading.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Balestra,
Second.
second by Mr. Mano. Are there any comments or questions about this resolution? Seeing none, roll call on the motion to approve.
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi?
Abstain.
Mr. Belastria?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mrs. Finney?
Abstain.
This resolution has been adopted. Thank you. I will turn the meeting back over to Council President Finney.
Thank you, Mrs. Snyder. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2019-53. Mr. Murphy, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Resolution number 2019-53, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to John Scalish and Tammy M. Scalish, 33237 Cedar Road, a variance to widen the driveway on said property by 960 square feet beyond the width of the garage and extending around the side and back of the garage. Cuyahoga County Permanent Parcel Number 861-31-003. First reading.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Is there a motion to suspend the rules? Moved by Mrs. Snyder, seconded by Mr. Mano. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend.
Mrs. Tressi,
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta,
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder,
Yes.
Mr. Mano,
Yes.
Mr. Belastria,
Yes.
Mrs. Finney.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Moved by Mrs. Teresi, second by Mr. Balestria. Discussion, Mrs. Sabetta.
Thank you. This practical difficulty was discussed concerning the type of ingress and egress to the property. The traffic on the access street, 2 lanes and very busy. The property size can accommodate, and the consideration of the residential effect, which is none, it won't be seen from the residence side or the front of the property. The neighboring property is a church, which is a parking lot and more traffic, and the applicant did present a medical letter. It was a unanimous approval. All members were present.
Thank you, Mrs. Sabetta. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Vicky.
Mr. Belastria,
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi,
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta,
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder,
Yes.
Mr. Mano,
Yes.
Mrs. Finney.
Yes. Resolution 2019-53 has been adopted. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2019-54. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Resolution 2019-54, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to Don Takic, C6414 Eastendale Road, a variance to widen the driveway on said property to 23 feet. Cuyahoga County Permanent Parcel Number 863-22-047. First reading.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Is there a motion to suspend the rules? Moved by Mrs. Teresi, seconded by Mrs. Snyder. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend.
Mrs. Snyder,
Yes.
Mr. Mano,
Yes.
Mr. Belastria,
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta,
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi,
Yes.
Mrs. Finney.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Mano, seconded by Mr. Balestria. Mrs. Sabetta, discussion.
Thank you. This is now a 16-foot driveway. They're allowed 18 feet. This is a 5-foot variance. The applicant has senior family drivers. The driveway is not wide enough for 2 cars to open the door. He worries about their safety of walking on the grass and parking in the street. He is putting in a brand-new concrete drive. There were 2 residents present, and their information and questions were answered, and this also was a unanimous approval. All members were present.
Thank you, Mrs. Sabetta. Any other discussion? Questions? Roll call, please, Vicky.
Mrs. Sabetta,
Yes.
Mr. Mano,
Yes.
Mr. Belastria,
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi,
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder,
Yes.
Mrs. Finney.
Yes, Resolution 2019-54 has been adopted. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2019-55. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Resolution number 2019-55, a resolution accepting a certain bid for treated rock salt and declaring an emergency. Proposed contractor is Morton Salt, Inc. First reading.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Mano, seconded by Mrs. Teresi. Roll call on the motion to suspend.
Mr. Mano,
Yes.
Mr. Belastria,
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta,
Yes.
Mrs. Tressi,
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder,
Yes.
Mrs. Finney.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Mrs. Snyder, seconded by Mr. Balestria. Discussion, Mr. Balestria, did you want to discuss the salt?
No.
Anybody else?
I don't want to use
I
it,
don't either.
but we need it.
It's almost obscene to be talking about that right now.
Mrs. Teresi?
Did we have any salt left from last year, since it wasn't as horrific as years
Yes.
past?
I see Mr. Finaro
I
shaking
believe we
his
did,
head.
but I don't know how much.
I know we spent 299,000 additional in buying the salt, I think. But we had some left.
Mr. Fenaro, did
Do
you
you want to
want?
know exact numbers?
No,
We have some left, yes, he's shaking his head,
that's
yes.
good. That's all that matters.
Okay, could I have a roll call, please, on the motion to approve?
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Mrs. Teresi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellistrian?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mrs. Finney?
Yes, Resolution 2019-55 has been adopted. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2019-56. Mr. Murphy, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 2019-56, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with WatchGuard for the purchase of 20 body cameras and support services for use by the Mayfield Heights Police Department and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Is there a motion to suspend the rules? Moved by Mrs. Snyder, seconded by Mr. Balestria. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend.
Mrs. Teresi?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. Bellistrian?
Yes.
Mrs. Finney?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Moved by Mrs. Teresi, seconded by Mr. Balestria. Discussion, we heard from the chief. Anybody else? Mrs. Teresi, did you have anything to add?
No, I think it's something that we really need to upgrade and purchase so that we're always, prepared when our police department is out on the road.
Of course, safety first. Anybody have anything to add? Roll call, please, Vicky.
Mr. Bellistrian?
Yes.
Mrs. Teresi?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mrs. Finney?
Yes, Resolution 2019-56 has been adopted. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2019-57. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Resolution number 2019-57, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Mayfield City Schools, continuing the school resource officer program and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Move.
Moved by Mrs. Snyder, seconded by Mr. Mano. Could I have a roll call, please, on the motion to suspend?
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. Bellistrian?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mrs. Teresi?
Yes.
Mrs. Finney?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Balestria,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Sabetta. Discussion, I think this is just housekeeping. We do this every year, correct, Mayor?
It's just continuing the first time, continuation of the first contract we had with them, same basic terms.
Anybody else? Roll call, please, Vicky.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. Bellistrian?
Yes.
Mrs. Teresi?
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Mrs. Finney?
Yes, Resolution 2019-57 has been adopted. Next, I'm going to ask for a motion to add Resolution 2019-58 to the agenda.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Mano,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Sabetta. Could I have a roll call, please, on the motion to place 2019-58 on the agenda?
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mr. Bellistrian?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mrs. Teresi?
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Mrs. Finney?
Yes. Mr. Murphy. Last time I forgot.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Resolution number 2019-58, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Impact Group, 5100 Darrow Road, Hudson, Ohio 44236, to provide professional consulting and communication services in connection with preparing and conducting a recreation survey in the city and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Mano, seconded by Mrs. Snyder. Can we have a roll call, please, on the motion to suspend?
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Mrs. Teresi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellistrian?
Yes.
Mr. Mano?
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta?
Yes.
Mrs. Finney?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Mano, seconded by Mrs. Snyder. We've had some discussion. We've heard from Mr. Ward, and I think we've all spoken today since this was new legislation. It's a difference, a price of $6,500. Does anyone have anything they wanted to add? Mr. Mano?
Two things. First of all, it's time we put this thing to bed. Let's get it done and find out exactly how the residents feel about the situation. And two, I feel that this should be a unanimous vote of council. Let's send the right message. We're behind this thing. Let's get it done and find out once and for all what direction we're gonna go in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mano. Anybody else? Seeing none, roll call, please, Vicky.
Mrs. Tressi.
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta.
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Mano.
Yes.
Mr. Belastria.
Yes.
Mrs. Finney.
Yes. Resolution 2019-58 has been approved. There are no ordinance or motions this evening, so is there any new business or comments from council? Nope. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Balestria, seconded by Mrs. Teresi. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending.